Transatlantic Experts Group is a group of about 50 people from the United States and Europe who have expertise in agriculture and food security, who decided to take a look at the issue of food security in sub-Saharan Africa. We're doing that because we think this is a critical issue that faces the world today, and particularly people in developing countries. Food security is not something that can be done by government alone. You don't create food through government. You have to have the private sector that's involved, and that's why transformational partnerships are really critical. If we're going to see the amount of food, the increase in nutrition, the betterment of nutrition in these developing countries, you have to have the private sector involved in that. And that means companies that work in food security that are in the United States and Europe, and of course also in sub-Saharan Africa. So the key to making this thing a success is the transformational partnership. Well, food security is the right place to really start with this issue, because we have a growing population in the world, some estimated to go from 7 to 9 billion people over the next 25 or 30 years. We've had a kind of a plateau, if you will, in food production. We may remember that years ago we had what was called the Green Revolution, a tremendous increase in the productivity of food and increase in the amount of food that we were producing. But we reached a plateau with the new seeds, the new methods. We need a new one. And that's what we're talking about. Why food security? Why deal with that now? We have a growing population. We have developing countries where not only is the population growing, but their demand for more calories, for more better nutrition, for more kinds of foods that the rest of us eat in the world, proteins and so forth, is growing. So we need to have a real focus on food security. Next month at the G8 summit in May of this year, the focus is going to be on food and food security. So it's a very timely opportunity for us to be thinking about it in the United States and Europe, both at the government level and at the private sector level, about what we can do to increase the amount of food and to increase food security. This is an issue of not just of development and not just of poverty, but also of security. You can't have stable societies, you can't have good governance if people aren't being fed. So it's the appropriate time for us to be thinking about this as the G8 is doing so, and also as the private sector is realizing that they have opportunities for investment in these countries, and there's great opportunities to do things both with government and with the private sector there to increase food and food security. So this is the right time to be doing it. It makes sense for the United States and Europe to be looking at this together. We are the two largest donors in the world when it comes to food and food security. We not only provide assistance, but we also import and export great amount of food. We've been to Africa as a group. We've taken a look at some of these issues there. We've seen what the problems are on the ground. Now we want to translate this into action back here in the United States and in Europe in ways in which we can find to help alleviate poverty and increase the amount of food and food production and of nutrition in these countries. We don't have all the answers to this, but we believe that the initiative that we're starting here with this report and this idea is one that can help us to create the kinds of transformational partnerships that are absolutely necessary if we are going to have the kind of food security and the kind of food production that's going to be needed for the future.